What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be taking a deep look at destroying streaks in Black Ops 6 to find out which method is most efficient and what the best loadout is to pull out if you have enemies calling in constant streaks against you. Now this is a video I make most years with Call of Duty. I've been putting it off with Black Ops 6 because honestly I feel the streaks in this game are generally quite weak, and therefore this wasn't really needed, but I've had a lot of people asking for this and they want to just make sure they have that loadout ready to go. So I'm here to provide the details on that. Also, right up front to set expectations, this time around I don't have a ridiculous method of taking out like high-end streaks in 2 seconds like I did last year with Modern Warfare 3. I think this game is balanced much better in this area. I still got some very fast methods, and there definitely are some methods that are far more efficient than others, but I think it is quite reasonable with Black Ops 6. Now, without further ado, let's dive right into this. And the main streak I tested against here as the baseline is the Watchdog Helo. And the reason behind this is probably the streak that you will feel the need to shoot down more than any other streak in the game, due to its prevalence as well as the potential danger it poses being up in the air. And of course, the baseline here is going to be using the launchers, because these are the things that, at least traditionally in older Call of Duty games, are the things that are designed to be taking out streaks. But in modern CODs, that just hasn't been the case. Launchers are often not that great, and it's no different here with Black Ops 6. With the Sigma launcher, it actually takes 3 shots to take down a Watchdog Helo, and by default, you spawn in with 2 rockets. So immediately you can see that this is not going to be the best method at taking out the streaks. It can still be very helpful if you have teammates that are shooting at it with their gun as well. This could still take out streaks reasonably well, but it's far from the best method. However, with the HE1 launcher, this is the non-lock-on launcher, it only takes 2 rockets to take out a Watchdog Helo, which from the time the first rocket fires, you're able to take out that Watchdog Helo in about 5.8 seconds, which is reasonable. That's pretty quick, but you have to make sure you hit those rockets. So I consider 5.8 seconds to be the time to beat when starting to test guns against this. The next obvious choices here are going to be the LMGs, since they have large magazine capacities and you can typically take out streaks without having to get a reload, especially if you're using extended mags on them. And here are the values I collected with the base version of the guns, with no FMJ, no rapid fire, nothing like that. You can see with the PU-21 it takes 85 shots, the XMG takes 76 shots, and the GPMG took 94 shots to take down a Watchdog Helo. And you can see the times there range from 6.8 seconds at the slowest with the PU-21, down to 6.2 seconds, which is the fastest in the LMG category with the GPMG-7. Now, obviously, putting rapid fire on would speed up those values since we're getting our shots off faster, but it's taking the same number of shots to kill. And now with the GPMG-7, it takes right around the same amount of time that the HE1 launcher would take to get a kill, and yet this is much easier to use and more consistent, because if you miss a few bullets here or there, it's not a big deal. Whereas if you miss a rocket with the HE1, you're basically screwed as far as taking that down effectively. However, of course, rapid fire isn't our best bet on LMGs for taking out streaks. FMJ is. And based on my testing, FMJ will boost your damage against score streaks by 25%. And what this means is all of the LMGs now are killing in about 5 seconds or less, and the fastest is once again going to be the GPMG-7 at 4.62 seconds. That is now clearly better than the HE1 launcher. Again, like I said, very consistent as well. And it is the clear winner out of the LMGs. It will take you 70 rounds to take one out though, so you definitely have to use extended mags on this since you only get a 50 round mag by default. But so far, that's looking like it's the best. However, I did also want to test a few wildcards here. And I don't mean the wildcards on your classes, I just mean other guns that look like maybe they could have a chance at competing here. The next one I wanted to test is the XM4 assault rifle, because we can have up to a 100 round magazine on this. And if we also put on FMJ, it's going to take us 88 shots to take out a Watchdog Helo. And that's going to take a total of 6.6 seconds, which is not bad, but definitely nowhere near as good as the GPMG, so we can rule that one out. Then I tested some of the marksman rifles. The DM10, unfortunately, even with extended mags and FMJ, we can't take a Watchdog Helo out with a single magazine, and as soon as you throw a reload time in there, that just rules it out entirely. However, with the Sarkov, if we're using the extended mag 2 attachment with a 30 round magazine and FMJ, we can take this chopper out in 25 rounds. However, unfortunately, with the slow fire rate, this is going to take us 7.5 seconds, so we're ruling that one out as well. And then I also wanted to test the semi-auto sniper rifles. The bolt actions are just too slow, that's just not going to be viable. But with the semi-autos, we've got the SVD and the AMR Mod 4, and unfortunately, in both cases, even with extended mags and FMJ, we are going to have to reload at some point. And therefore, after all of this testing that I've done, the clear winner here when it comes to shooting down at least Watchdog Helos is going to be the GPMG-7 with FMJ and extended mags on there. Now on top of that, for this setup, I do like using an optic just so I can see a little bit better what I'm shooting at, especially if I'm shooting like a Dreadnought or something, because they're really far away and quite small in the sky, or a UAV even. I also want the compensator on there to help as much as possible with recoil control since we are holding down that trigger for a long period of time. Then I put the gain twist barrel on here, and that's just so you don't have to lead your target nearly as much due to the higher bullet velocity. So I find that to be more helpful than any of the other attachments. And that leaves us with what I consider to be the ideal build for taking out enemy streaks, whether that's aerial or ground-based streaks. This is going to be excellent for taking those down, and it even works really well against things like dreadnoughts and chopper gunners, some of the highest streaks in the entire game. You can viably take them down with this LMG. Now, in a realistic scenario, you're probably not going to be doing it like I just did. You're probably going to get a death or two in between, but comparing this to the other potential methods, this is going to be the most effective in my opinion. As for the rest of the loadout that I'd combine with this, if I'm just creating that loadout that's specifically designed for me to swap to once these aerial streaks come in the air, I got Flak Jacket on here, which is kind of just a throwaway. It doesn't protect against explosives from score streaks specifically, but there's no better option in my eyes to throw on here for this particular style of setup. We've got Engineer, which will make it so the streaks appear on your minimap and they will be highlighted through walls. So it's just a little bit easier to get that target acquisition, especially if you're looking for like UAVs, for instance, to shoot down. It just allows you to find and get on target a little bit faster. We obviously have Cold-Blooded on here as well, so it's going to be harder for those aerial streaks to shoot you down, or in the case of the Watchdog Helo, it literally won't target you at all. And then when it comes to your wildcard, honestly, you can use whatever you want. There's no wildcard in here that, in my opinion, makes it obviously easier to shoot down a streak. Like maybe you want to go with Gunfighter and pop some more attachments on your gun if you wanted to. It's not necessary. It probably won't change the effectiveness all that much, but you could go that route if you'd like. And then one last key that I've got on this is actually the Impact Grenade. And the reason I like the Impact Grenade is if for whatever reason you run out of ammo with this gun and there's still a streak in the air that you want to take out, if you want to be as efficient as possible, it's actually in your best interest to just throw that Impact Grenade at your feet, get yourself killed, respawn, and that's actually going to get you back on target faster than reloading your gun. Now, hopefully you shouldn't have to do this. If you're on point with your shots, you can take out a Dreadnought with a single magazine, but maybe there's multiple streaks in the air. Maybe you've already fired a few shots and therefore you don't have the full mag. That just provides you an option in case you run out of ammo and want to be as efficient as possible. And there we go. That's pretty much it. That's going to wrap it up for what I consider to be the best loadout in the game for taking out enemy streaks. Like I said, it's not nearly as ridiculous as what we saw last year with Modern Warfare 3. I had a loadout that would take out chopper gunners in like 2 seconds. It was ridiculously fast. This time, still pretty fast. Definitely still something to be aware of, but not totally broken like it was last year. And with that, this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about the ease at which you're able to shoot down streaks compared to the power of those streaks in general in the game's current state? Are you guys generally happy with where they found a balance here, or not so much? Do you guys think it should be easier to shoot streaks down, or maybe harder to shoot streaks down? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.